Happy Friday, life leaders. Thank you so much for being here today, joining me with our Friday tidbits here at Lead Life by Design. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 foundations of money mindset. And a lot of times when I talk about money mindset, a lot of people ask me, what does that even mean? What does it mean, money mindset, right? Everything we do with our finances, whether it be spending, saving, creating a plan, the way we make our money, all of that comes from that deep-seated subconscious belief systems and influencers that are foundational, right? They're foundational to the way we react with money. And I say react because these seeds have been planted from the time that you were little bitty. And these seeds have been guiding the way you handle your money without you even knowing it. They're sabotaging your efforts towards income. They're sabotaging your efforts towards savings. They're sabotaging your efforts towards with your spending, right? They're sabotaging your efforts to even dream, to dream big. Because there are seeds that have been planted when you were a baby. Think about it. When you're little, when you watch your children grow, if you have children, or if you watched other people's children grow, from the time that they are little bitty and they are sponges, they are taking in everything we tell them, everything that we are teaching, everything we do. They're bringing it in by osmosis. They're bringing it in by the way we handle things, we react to things as parents, right? And the interesting thing about it is we're actually reacting based on what we took in at that age from our parents. And our parents took in all of that information when they were that age, right? So these are generational influencers that are literally sabotaging the way you handle your money today. So just a quick introduction. My name is Sheila Wood. I am the CEO of Lead Life by Design and the creator of the Financial Alignment Academy, and where we blend personal development strategies with your financial plan to create long-term financial change and success. If you don't deal with the foundation, if you do not make your foundation stronger, if you do not grow and groom the seeds that are going to grow into that big oak tree, rather than grooming the seeds of weeds, you will never be able to get ahead in life with your finances, because these are subconscious subconscious saboteurs towards your efforts. The first thing that I want to talk about are influencers. Right? These are the external influences that you have had over your lifetime. It's your family, the way they handle money. From the time that you were teeny tiny, if you were to look back at that first instance that you remember with your parents around money, your mom, how she was with money, your dad, how did he handle money, right? We've talked a lot about in the past about how the relationship between the two as a couple, the relationship between yourself and a couple, you have your interactions, but those interactions are reactions to your own personal belief systems and mindset around money. So when you have those two different personalities coming together, right? Sometimes we have chaos in our relationships from it. But those influencers aren't yours. Those are your parents. The way your parents handled money when they were a child is influencing the way you believe money should be handled, right? They grew up in a different generation. What may have worked for them may not work for you. And being able to identify that influence that has been guiding you allows you to bring it from the subconscious to the conscious so that you can deal with it, right? One thing that I really love to talk about, or one of the examples I love, is the river, right? When you see a river and it is strong and it is barreling down, right? It's beautiful. It's got power. It's got depth, right? It's got all the rocks around the sides of it. Those are all those beautiful gems that the river has created over time. But how do you change the path of a river? How does a river change paths? It does it by consistently paying attention to where they want to go. Consistently beating the rock or beating the dirt, beating that environment that has been keeping them going in the same direction. Dealing with your money is no different. So dealing with those influencers that have been sabotaging you, like your parents, the way they handled their money, allows you to bring it to the surface and start beating into a new direction, right? Other influencers are your cultural influences. You know, culture is a really strong influence because the expectation is been embedded generation after generation as well, right? Your religious influences. How are those biases feeding into the way you handle your money? Are they even truths? I know for me as a child, my religious belief was, giving your shirt off your back. Now, I'm not discounting giving your shirt off your back, but my belief was that I didn't need to make any more than I needed. And then when somebody else needed it, I was supposed to give it to them, right? But that's not the truth in how giving is, right? We don't have to give everything we own to support someone else. You give the shirt off your back, you've got one person with a shirt. But creating a new shirt to give them, creating that giving environment without having to give your shirt to them allows both people to have a shirt, right? It's no different with your finances. And my belief around giving has shifted due to the fact that I recognized the truth in the way I interpreted it as a child, right? Other influences are your demographic influences. We live in an environment of opportunity, but our demographic influences can keep us where we are. They can keep us stuck if we allow them to. And identifying where those demographic biases are really holding us back will allow us to move forward in our finances. So you've got religious, you've got cultural, you've got demographic, going deeper into demographic, you've got your gender bias, right? These are all belief systems that we have been fed over generations of our life. Some of them may fit for you. Some of them may actually be moving you in the right direction. But it's up to you as an individual to be able to look deep, dive deep into the foundation of where those influencers are coming from and whether they are serving you, right? That takes time. It takes time and it takes effort, just like it takes time for that river to keep beating that rock to be able to change direction. And eventually the stream gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's the direction of where you head from then forward, right? But it takes time. The second set is your internal belief systems, right? Your belief systems based on your personal experiences as a child. I love the book. One of the books that I've read recently is called Happy Money. And I'm going to read a quote about it, read it later, but there it is. Happy Money by Ken Holiday is a really, really good book. I've just read it recently, but it really talks about changing your relationship with money, changing the way that you believe in it, right? That foundation of beliefs comes from your personal experiences. He particularly told a story, which I want to share here, about his personal experience with money and his father. His father was an accountant and he had many clients. One of his, and I'm going to do the short version. So one of his clients came to his father and then asked him to borrow some money. He was falling on hard times. He asked him to borrow some money, and his father told him no. At that time, his client committed suicide because the weight of his finances, the weight of what his ability to move forward and past and through the situation he was in was incapacitated. I don't even know that word, but he was incapable of doing so. He felt like there was no hope, so he committed suicide. The effect that had on his father changed the way he believed about money forever. The emotional attachment to the difference between being able to see their client not have hope and feel hopeless changed his trajectory about never wanting to be there, right? He lost his relationship with his father. He lost his, the joy in the household disappeared. This was a huge impact for him. So he determined that he was never going to put his family ever in a situation like that. It's just an example of how your personal experiences are guiding the way you decide to handle your money today, right? Your belief in what people with money are, like who are they? What's their character? That belief system and that way that you react when it comes to those subjects are the deep-seated internal beliefs that probably aren't even yours. When you look back at the influences that have happened, the belief of people with money and how people are with money comes directly from those influences. If you can identify where those come from and you can see the situation for its truth, you can actually move past those biases about people with money, right? Some people believe that people with money are jerks, right? Some people believe that they're spoiled, that they don't have a work ethic, or they don't have, that they're better than everybody else. And to have money yourself may feel like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that jerk. I don't want to be that spoiled, rotten person. Therefore, I'm not going to make any money. I'm not going to have the wealth that I would love to have because I don't want to be the person that I believe people with money are. Right? So it's about looking and diminishing those belief systems so that you can move forward, so that you can actually see having money isn't a bad thing, right? Going into you with money, what do you believe about you having money? Do you even believe that you are worth having money? Self-worth comes from so many different things. I have struggled with my self-worth my entire life because of the trauma that I had in my life, because of back to the influencers, because of the way my father criticized me all the time. I struggle today, even stepping into this business, I struggle with the consistent belief that I am worth stepping into this business and that I know enough to be able to share the knowledge that I have. Because as a child, I was told I know nothing. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not good enough. That was a huge belief system for me. So for me to be able to step into my worth, to be able to make the money that I deserve based on the value that I give, was a huge challenge for me. And I still, again, back to the river, right? It takes time. And I still step into those moments where I'm looking in the mirror going, who do you think you are? Right? But I show up. Showing up and believing in the fact that you are truly worthy as an individual, as a person, as an expert in your field, right? Those are the things that are going to step you through believing that you can have money. Giving yourself permission to have money is another one, right? Forgiveness for yourself and those past experiences, letting go of the mistakes that you've made in your past, Those are another huge, forgiveness was another huge piece for me, is forgiving myself for not believing I was worthy, forgiving myself for the mistakes I've made in my past with my own finances, those patterns that I've created based on my influencers, right? Those are all things that we as individuals, based on our history, based on our influencers, based on our personal experiences, all of us are dealing with the same thing when it comes to moving forward in our finances, right? They're creating those subconscious, reactive ways of handling decisions in the moment, right? And then it's looking at your personal, again, going back to forgiveness, I was looking at my personal history. I was looking at the way I was handling debt through my life. You know, going from that having debt, paying it off, having debt, paying it off, having debt, paying it off. And I had to look at, why do I keep creating debt? Why is it that my patterns are keeping me where I am 10, 15, 20 years down the road? Looking back, right? Those patterns that we create are reactive to the way we believe in ourselves. They're reactive to the way that we believe other people's ideas have been planted within our subconscious, whether they're true, right? They're in the subconscious. That's the whole point. But being able to forgive yourself for those patterns is huge, but you have to recognize them first, right? It's recognizing the attitude that you have towards your own finances that will allow you to shift in the moment, right? Recognizing those patterns. Past financial picture. You know, was it a positive financial picture? Or was it a negative one? And how hard are you holding on to those failures? External expectations. We talked about the influencers that have been seeded, deeply seeded as a child. Those things that we learned about money when we didn't even know we were learning them, right? But now we're looking at current, right? We're looking at what are the expectations on me today? And whose expectations are those? You know, I know a lot of children go through life with an expectation from their parents that they have to be something specific. And they struggle with their own personal identity in that because their dreams don't fit what the people in their family expect them to be. Right? Going back to those influencers, what are those expectations today that are coming from those external resources? And do they fit internally for you as a person, as an individual, as a dreamer? Do they fit? And how can we shift those? Right? Recognition is the key. Is where are those expectations currently sitting on you? Where are they way right here? Because there is a huge need to please that comes from so many people, and we carry it on our shoulders. We carry it, but they're not ours to carry. They're not ours to carry. Our burden is to find out what our purpose is as an individual. Our burden is to look at those expectations and say, do they fit for me? And if part of it fits for me, what doesn't? And how can I shift that to make them be for me, right? So the next section, well, I skipped this, I apologize, but those are the perceptions, your current perceptions, right? I forgot to stick that up there, but you know, again, when you look at and I'm going to go a little deeper with perceptions, when you're looking at where you are today, right? Phase 1 of my program talks about the money mindset. That's where we are. But phase 2 talks about your practical, like looking at your actual money of where you are. And when you look at your money situation based on a high level, I'm going to describe where I am today. Is that perception a positive perception or is it a negative perception? Because if you're focusing on the negative perception of where you are today, and the negative perception of how your history has been, it is very difficult for you to shift into opportunity unless you make an effort to do so. I hope that makes sense. But when you look at your situation today, what is your perception of it? Is it positive or is it negative? How much energy is being held around your current situation and your past situation? The last one is the energy. I just talked about the energy on that, right? See, they all feed together. Your influencers feed into your belief systems, and your belief systems feed into how you do your money today and your perceptions about the way you've handled your money in the past. But all of that is fed by emotion, and emotion creates energy. Money is energy. The energy you put towards money is how money returns to you. When you put positive energy towards your finances and towards the mindset shifts, that opportunity is available for you. That your clarity on what it is that you want, because your worth has shifted into the belief that you can have it. That's all energy. That it's either positive or it's negative. And it's up to us as an individual to identify whether it's a positive or negative energy and to shift it. And sometimes that takes going on YouTube and doing mindset, listening to mindset stuff, changing those brain patterns that we have built based on the influences and past experiences that we've had, right? The energy we put around our money completely changes the trajectory of the way you save money, the way you manage your money, whether you're investing, whether you're putting it in real estate, whether you're saving it for your living fund, right? We are in a time right now of external influence. We are in a time with this virus going on, with what we are sitting in, of external influences on either being reactive or proactive in the way we handle our money. There has been something every single year. If you look back in history, something every single year threatens us in our economy. But when you look at the long term of the way the economy works, we have downs, we have ups, we have downs, we have ups. But the sheer fact is this too shall pass. And our attitude towards those expectations that are being fed to us by the TV, by the news, the way we handle those and shift those into positives, because the opportunities are abound and they are coming. And it's our responsibility to be able to look at that from a positive perspective and to start gaining on those opportunities that are in front of us. Right? That is what money mindset is all about. I do want to read a quote out of the book, Happy Money. And it says, I love this quote because it really kind of pulls it all together. And it says, it's those who figure out how to change their attitude towards and their relationship with money by healing their past wounds associated with money, who seem to feel the wealthiest regardless of what they currently have. Right? Because wealth is a mindset. Wealth is a belief system. Wealth is a worth, self-worth issue. When you believe that you have a good relationship with money and that the energy is positive around money and that those biases that aren't yours get shifted, then seeing the gratitude where you are helps you move towards the goals that you want. It's huge. And I really am so excited to be teaching this subject. And when I was going through my journey, I really realized no matter how, again, with those patterns, no matter how often I did the right practical things to move forward, I always put myself in a situation to go backwards. And it took me really diving deep with my personal development skills to look at my financial skills, to be able to shift those deep-seated, not mine, weeds that have been growing in my brain, been growing in that subconscious that I have not even being able to touch. Now I can see them, right? Everything in the subconscious can come to the conscious if you make an effort to do so. Sometimes you need help to do that, right? And that help comes from books. It comes from listening to YouTube. It comes from really understanding your instincts of what fits for you and what doesn't, right? Because you know, there's that, but recognizing that the instinct is not fear versus the instinct being real and it's a guiding force, right? Those are the things that come up as you start changing the mindset that you have had your whole life. But the benefits of doing so are tremendous. So thank you so much. I hope that helps. Thank you so much for being here today on Friday Tidbits. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I was teaching, but thank you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next Friday here on Lead Life by Design's Friday Tidbits. Have a wonderful day.